Dear students, today we are going to discuss about new chapter, that is microbes in human welfare. Generally, what is the meaning of microbiology? Microbiology is a branch of biology that deals with the scientific study of microorganisms or microbes such as protozoa, bacteria, virus, and also algae and fungi. Algae and fungi. So here microorganisms play a prime role in every field of human welfare. Especially some of the microorganisms are play very important role in the human welfare. Such microbes are bacteria, fungi and algae. So these three microbes are very useful in human welfare. Especially bacteria is very important, essential for the human life. So here microbes are used in household products. Microbes are used in industrial products. Microbes are used in sewage treatments. Microbes as production of biogas. Microbes as in biocontrol agents. Microbes as in biofertilizers. Okay now. And next one here, choosing posted by microbes. These are the uses of microbes. So dear students, today we are going to discuss about microbes in household products. So here microorganisms are microbes such as lactobacillus and other commonly called lactic acid bacteria, short form are here LAB. Okay now, so these two bacteria grown in milk and converted to its curd. This is the one economical useful important. Okay now, microorganisms are microbes such as lactobacillus and other commonly called lactic acid bacteria, short form LAB. That is lactic acid bacteria. These two bacteria are grown in milk, then after convert to it curd. So next one is here LAB, that is lactic acid bacteria, produces acids. These acids that coagulates and partially to digest milk proteins and to improves nutrient quality, especially for the increasing of vitamin B12. So by means the milk containing vitamin B12. So in this vitamin B12 to be produced lactic acid bacteria. Lactic lactic acid that colgates and partially digests the milk proteins for the improves of nutritional quality. Then after by increasing of vitamin B12, by increasing of vitamin B12. This is the another important R here. Next one is here lactic acid bacteria or LAB play one beneficial role, that is cheeking disease. That is cheeking disease is caused by one of the microbe. So in our stomach, one of the microbe in our stomach. This is the another important. So next important are here. So nowadays those friendly bacteria for therapeutic purpose and for betterment human health. So this process is called probiotics. This process is called probiotics. Okay, now some of those bacteria are here friendly nature. That is called friendly bacteria. So some of those friendly bacteria for therapeutic purpose and for betterment of human health. So this process is called probiotics. For example, Streptococcus bacteria to be produced streptomycin antibiotics, chloromycin, chloramphenicol, erythromycin. So some friendly bacteria or some useful bacteria such as streptomycin to be produced some of the antibiotics. So these antibiotics to be infect the harmful organisms or killing of the harmful microorganisms to be increasing of the human health. That is the purpose of probiotics. Next one is here nowadays to be all are replaced the dosha and idli are fermented by bacteria. Okay, now dear students, so dosha pindi and idli pindi are fermented by one type of bacteria. Okay, now another one here the dough which is used for making bread and is also fermented by one type of yeast, that is baker's yeast. Okay, now that is baker's yeast. So the baker's yeast scientific name here Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay, now so the dough which is used for making bread. So making bread is fermented by baker's yeast. Yeast is one of the fungal member. So the baker's yeast scientific name are here Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So here just coming to, so today a traditional drink. Today are used a traditional drink. Some part of the southern India is made fermented sap from farms. Is made by fermenting sap from one type of farms. Today nowadays are used one traditional drink. The traditional drink are available in farm plants such as Borassus flabellifera. Okay, here Phoenix dactylifera. Those are farm plants. That is toddy and ether. So here today are used a traditional drink in some parts of the plants or in southern India is made by fermenting sap from farm plants. This is the one important. Next we are going to microbes are used to fermented fish, soybean and bamboo shoots to make food items. Nowadays microbes are used to fermented fishes, soybeans and bamboo shoots to make a food items, to make a tasty and colorful food items. Another importance are here cheese. Generally cheese is one of the oldest food, so to be produced by some of the microbes or bacteria, such as bacteria and fungi. Okay, now dear students, cheese is one of the oldest food to be produced by some microbes such as bacteria and fungi. Okay, now two types of cheeses are here. So one is a large whole Swiss cheese. Is due to produce a large amount of CO2 by one type of bacteria that is called Propionibacterium sermani. Why is Swiss cheese containing large holes? By means a large hole in Swiss cheese are due to the production of large amount of CO2. By a bacterium that is called Propionibacterium sermani. By means Propionibacterium sermani to be grown in Swiss cheese. In this time, Swiss cheese to be containing a large size of the holes. So by means the Propionibacterium to be produced large amount of CO2 molecule. So hence Swiss cheese containing large holes. Okay, now dear students, why is Swiss cheese containing large holes? By means a Propionibacterium is commonly grown in Swiss cheese. This Swiss cheese containing large holes. In this time, the Propionibacterium to be produced large amount of CO2. So hence the Swiss cheese to be containing larger size of the holes. The larger size of the holes similar to larger amount of CO2 molecule. By a bacteria to be produced larger amount of CO2 molecule. So hence the Swiss cheese is always appeared larger size of the holes. That is the importance of Propionibacterium sermani. Okay, now dear students, another important artificial cheese that is called Roquefort cheese. Okay, now so here the Roquefort cheese is ripened by the from one of the fungus species is obtained of them, that is called Penicillium roqueforti. Penicillium roqueforti. This is one of the fungal member. So this is one of the bacteria member. Propionibacterium cerevisiae. This is a bacteria species. Okay now. But Penicillium roqueforti, this is a fungal species. So the Penicillium roqueforti to be produced is always Roquefort cheese. Roquefort cheese. Swiss cheese produced by Propionibacterium cerevisiae. Swiss cheese produced by Propionibacterium cerevisiae. At the same time, the Swiss cheese containing large holes. Why? Because to be produced large amount of CO2 molecules. Okay now. Then, so Penicillium roqueforti to be produced Roquefort cheese. This cheese, artificial cheese, to be very very tasty. Why? Because to be added some of the flavors. To be added some of the flavors. So hence this cheese to be cleaning up the very very tasty, very glowing and also tasty, very very tasty. So that appears to be likely very glowing and also to be tasty. That is the artificial cheese. That is the artificial cheese. Anyhow, very useful bacteria or microbes nowadays to be utilized household products. To be utilized household products. That is microbes in household products. Microbes in household products. So that is LAB produces acids. That is vitamin B12. That is vitamin B12. By means the milk and the curd containing vitamin B12. The milk and curd containing vitamin B12. Dosha and idli are fermented by bacteria. And also making bread is one of the yeast. Making bread is involved one of the yeast. That is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay now, a personal drink is available in some plants of the pots to be fermenting sap from palm plants. Palm plants, that is Thortiform and Ethaform. And cheese is one of the oldest food to be produced by some of the bacteria. So generally two types of cheeses are here. One is Swiss cheese, another one is Roquefort cheese. Swiss cheese to be produced Propionibacterium cerevisiae. Roquefort cheese to be produced Penicillium roqueforti. Penicillium roqueforti. Okay now, dear students, this is about of microbes in household products. Microbes in household products. Thank you. Dear students, today we are learned about microbes in industrial products. Already previous classes we will discuss about microbes in household products. So today we are going to discuss about microbes in industrial products. Okay now. So several microbes are to be utilized in the industrial purpose to be produced some useful beverages, antibiotics, acids and enzymes. Acids and enzymes. Generally, beverages and antibiotics are produced by microbes. Especially two microbes are produced in beverages, antibiotics as well as some organic acids and enzymes. Those microbes are here such as bacteria and fungi. Bacteria and fungi. These are very very useful in essential to human life. Essential to human life. Okay now, dear students, beverages are of two types. One is alcoholic beverages. Second one is non-alcoholic beverages. Alcoholic beverages are here beer, wine, whiskey, brandy and rum. Non-alcoholic beverages are here tea, coffee, and some drinks and some drinks. So these are two types of beverages. One is alcoholic beverages, second one is non-alcoholic beverages. Anyhow, dear students, yeast is one of the fungi. So this fungi have been used for the production of beverages such as like beer, wine, whiskey, brandy and rum. So both all are alcoholic beverages. Non-alcoholic beverages are here coffee, tea. So these two non-alcoholic beverages will be produced one of the plant. Okay now, but alcoholic beverages will be produced one type of fungal organism. Okay now, alcoholic beverages will be produced one type of microbe such as fungi in yeast, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. But non-alcoholic beverages will be produced some type of plants such as tea plant and coffee plant. That is teyaku and coffee. Okay now. So here yeast have been used for the production of beverages like beer, wine, whiskey, brandy, rum. So these all are alcoholic beverages, but especially coffee and tea, both two are non-alcoholic beverages is available from in plants, plant of seeds and plant of leaves, Okay. Next one here, Saccharomyces cerevisiae to be used bread making. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is also used to be bread making, and Saccharomyces cerevisiae as well as yeast also used for fermenting malted cereals and fruit juices to produce ethanol or ethyl alcohol. By means the beer, wine, whiskey, brandy and rummy can having to one type of alcohol, that is ethanol or ethyl alcohol. So here, dear students, fungi in yeast such as Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Not only making of bread, and is also used for fermenting malted cereals and fruit juices to produce ethanol. Or one type of ethyl alcohol, that is C2H5OH. So this ethanol or ethyl alcohol to be available beer, wine, whiskey, brandy and rum. Which type of fruit juices are here? Especially black grapes to be produced ethanol or ethyl alcohol. Okay now. Next one here, wine and beer are produced without distillation by means without filter. Directly will be produced. Whiskey and brandy and rum produced with distillation, that is double filter. So wine and beer industrially to be prepared wine, beer, whiskey, brandy and rum to be utilized some of the malted cereals and fruit juices to be making wine, beer, whiskey, brandy and rum. But here wine and beer are produced without distillation, by means without filter. Directly will be produced. Whiskey, brandy and rum produced with distillation, that is filtration, double filter. This is the importance of beverages. Anyhow, Saccharomyces cerevisiae are also useful in beverage industries. Saccharomyces cerevisiae is one of the fungal member commonly called yeast, but scientific name are here Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Okay, now yeast is one of the fungal member. The scientific name of yeast, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Anyhow, the yeast or Saccharomyces cerevisiae are economically to be useful in beverage industries. Okay, now next we are going to antibiotics. So antibiotics, generally some chemical substances is always to kill and return of the certain causing diseases of microorganisms, that is called antibiotics. Okay, now dear students, what is the meaning of antibiotics? Generally, antibiotics are one type of chemical substances and is always to kill and return of the identified to be causing of diseased microorganisms, that is called antibiotics. So several antibiotics are available in bacteria and fungi. But most of the antibiotics are available in especially bacteria. So here first powerful antibiotic are known as penicillin. Penicillin is the first powerful antibiotic. First identified antibiotic, that is penicillin. Who is discovered by penicillin? So Alexander Fleming. So here Alexander Fleming first to be identified one antibiotic in the so many American soldiers are wounded by Second World War. In this time to be discovered by Alexander Fleming, that is penicillin antibiotic. Okay, now dear students, the first antibiotic are here penicillin. So this penicillin first discovered by Alexander Fleming. So here Alexander Fleming first discovered one type of antibiotic, that is penicillin. In this penicillin first to be identified. In this so many American soldiers to be wounded in the Second World War. So in this time to be introduced one type of antibiotic, that is penicillin. This penicillin first to be identified in Second World War. So here Alexander Fleming first worked by Staphylococci bacteria, but isolated by Penicillium notatum. By means penicillin is obtained from Penicillium notatum. This is very important over here. Okay, here first powerful antibiotic are here penicillin first identified Alexander Fleming. So many American soldiers wounded by Second World War and to be working by Staphylococci bacteria. Then after to be obtained from or discovered from Penicillium notatum. That means penicillin is obtained from Penicillium notatum, discovered by Alexander Fleming. Then after Ernest Stein, cobalt chloride to be said, the penicillin is very powerful. And to be controlling of the some harmful diseases and to be increasing of the resistance power. Why? Because containing some chemical substances substances. So hence then after to be awarded the Nobel Prize, Ernest Chain, Howard Florey, along with Alexander Fleming. Along with Alexander Fleming. Okay now, Ernest Chain and Howard Florey both are to be said. The penicillin is very very powerful, useful drug and also wonderful drug, and to be decreasing of the harmful diseases and increasing of the resistance power, immunity power, resistance power or immunity power. Then after to be got a Nobel Prize, Ernest Chain, Howard Florey along with Alexander Fleming. Alexander Fleming. Next here, antibiotics are used to treat deadly diseases. Mainly antibiotics are used to treat deadly diseases. Mainly deadly diseases. Some examples are here: plague, leprosy, and leprosy, wolf cough, that is kalle, wolf cough. So these are the very very harmful deadly diseases: plague, diphtheria, leprosy, whooping cough, that is kalle. Okay now, antibiotics are used to treat deadly diseases. Some of the deadly diseases are here. These deadly diseases are here: diphtheria, leprosy, whooping cough, leprosy, diphtheria, whooping coughs. Okay now, and several microbes will be produced some organic acids, especially some fungal members and bacterial members, such as Aspergillus niger is one of the fungal member. To be produced citric acid. So here citric acid is available from Aspergillus niger. Okay now, next one here, Estobacter aceti. This is a bacteria member. To be produced butyric acid or acetic acid. And next one here, Lactobacillus bacteria will be produced lactic acid. Okay now, dear students, some of the microbes will be produced organic acids at industrial level. Those are the fungal members and bacterial members, such as Aspergillus niger to be produced citric acid. This is a fungal member. Estobacter aceti to be produced butyric acid or acetic acid. This is a bacteria member. Lactobacillus bacteriae will be produced lactic acid. This is a bacteria. So those microbes not only produced or utilizing beverage industries, antibiotic industries and organic acid industries, as well as to be produced some amount of enzymes. Okay now, dear students, first enzyme are here lipases. So lipases is always using the detergent formulations. By means is always removing of the oily stains, to be used landers, laundry industries, laundry. Okay now, lipases is one of the enzyme. Are used to detergent formulations. Okay now, lipases is one of the enzyme are used to be detergent formulations. By means removal of any oily stains, by using laundry industry. Next one here, bottled fruit juices. For example, thumbs up bottle juice, Coca-Cola bottle juice, mango bottle juices is always cleared, is always cleaning. So is always cleaning to be utilizing pectinases and proteases enzyme. Okay, now dear students, bottled fruit juices to be making at an industrial level for the market with the clearing of the using pectinases and proteases enzymes. Pectinases and proteases enzymes by means bottle cleanings are used to be pectinases and proteases enzymes. Okay, now bottled fruit juices such as Thumbs Up, Coca-Cola, Mango, Sprite. So those are the bottled fruit juices. So these bottles is always clearing by pectinases and proteases enzymes. Okay, now next another enzyme are here, streptokinase enzyme. So streptokinase enzyme is available Streptococcus bacteria. This enzyme used to be clot buster. Okay, now dear students, streptokinase enzyme is available in Streptococcus bacteria to be used to clot buster. Okay, now another one is here, cyclosporin A. This is a one type of enzyme. Cyclosporin A to be act of immunosuppressive agent to be available from one of the fungal member, that is Trichoderma polysporum. Okay, now cyclosporin A is one of the immunosuppressive agent by means organ transplant in patients. Any organ, liver organ is modified, liver organ is transferred one person to another person, mainly livers, kidneys, liver transport, kidneys transport. So to be used to cyclosporin A. Okay, now cyclosporin A is one of the immunosuppressive agent by means organ transplant in patients. So this cyclosporin A available in one fungal member, that is Trichoderma polysporum. Okay, now next one is here, statins. Okay, now so statins is available from one of the yeast. This is also fungal member, that is Monococcus perfurus. Statins is available from one of the yeast, that is Monococcus perfurus. What is the importance of Monococcus perfurus? So Monococcus perfurus is always blood cholesterol lowering agent. To be act of blood cholesterol lowering agent, that is statins. Statins is available from Monococcus perfurus. This is a one type of yeast. So is always used in blood cholesterol lowering agent. Okay, now this is about microbes in industrial products. Thank you. Dear students, previous classes will be discussed about microbes in household products and microbes in industrial products. Today we are going to discuss about microbes in sewage treatment. So first we are going to discuss about what is the meaning of sewage. So here a major component of wastewater and human excreta are called sewage. A major component of wastewater and human excreta are called sewage. Okay, now this sewage contains large amount of organic matter and Generally, the sewage contains large amount of organic matter and microbes Next here, treatment of wastewater is done in two stages. Treatment of wastewater is done in two stages. Especially treatment of municipality wastewater. Treatment of municipality wastewater is done in two stages by heterotrophic microbes. By heterotrophic microbes naturally present in the sewage. Okay now. So two stages are here. So first stage, that is primary treatment. First stage are here, primary treatment. Okay now. Treatment of wastewater is done in two stages by heterotrophic microbes. Heterotrophic microbes naturally present in the sewage. That is municipality wastewater. Okay now, first stage are here, primary treatment. So primary treatment is always involves physical removal of particles. From the sewage. Through filtration and sedimentation. Okay now, dear students. So treatment of wastewater is done in two stages. That is primary treatment and secondary treatment. So primary treatment is always involves physical removal of small and larger size of the particles from the sewage through filtration and sedimentation process. Okay now. So next one here, floating debris. Some of the floating debris is removed by sequential filtration and grit is removed by sedimentation. First now, physical removal of smaller size of the particles or larger size of the particles from the sewage through filtration and sedimentation process. Okay now, next one, floating debris. Some of the debris are freely floating up the wastewater. That is floating debris. Okay now, floating debris is removed by sequential filtration and grit is removed by sedimentation. Grit means soil or small pebbles. Is removed by sedimentation. Okay now, dear students, floating debris. Some amount of the debris is always freely floating up the wastewater is removed by sequential filtration and grit by means soil and small pebbles. Is removed by sedimentation. So next one here, all solids that settle from the primary sludge and the supernatant forms the effluent. Okay now, dear students, all solids that settle from the primary sludge and the supernatant forms the effluent. By means primary treatment of primary sludge finally to be form of effluent. This is a primary treatment or first stage. This is a first stage or primary treatment. Okay now. Next here, secondary treatment or biological treatment is done by passing the primary effluent into large aeration tank. So into large aeration tank for vigorous growth of aerobic microbes into form of flows. Okay now, dear students. So secondary treatment or biological treatment is done by passing the primary effluent into large aeration tank. microbes into flows. These growth of aerobic microbes into flows. Okay now, into flows. Next one here. So these aerobic microbes or these microbes consume the major part of the organic matter. Major part of the organic matter in the primary effluent and reduce the BOD. Reduce the BOD. Okay now. Primary treatment. So is also finally the primary sludge to be formed the primary effluent. So in this primary effluent, next involved to secondary treatment or biological treatment. So the primary effluent to passing a large aeration tank. So this large aeration tank containing several aerobic microbes. Okay now. So these several aerobic microbes consume the major part of the organic matter. Several microbes are consumed major part of the organic matter in the primary effluent. Then after reduce the BOD. So BOD means biochemical oxygen demand of the effluent. So the effluent to be reduce the BOD, that is biochemical oxygen demand. Okay now. So what is the meaning of BOD? So BOD generally the abbreviation of BOD, B for biochemical, O for oxygen, D for demand. That is BOD. So BOD is always refers to the amount of oxygen that would be consumed if the organic matter in 1 liter of water was oxidized by bacteria. That is the meaning of BOD. BOD full form biochemical oxygen demand. What is the meaning of BOD? So in generally BOD refers to the amount of oxygen that would be consumed if all the organic matter in 1 liter of the water was oxidized by some aerobic bacteria. That is called BOD. Or biochemical oxygen demand. Okay now, dear students. So here secondary treatment or biological treatment to be appeared reduce the BOD. So is always reducing the biochemical oxygen demand. So here the BOD test is always measures the. So the BOD test is always measures in the effluent of the water. By means the BOD test measures is always done to the effluent of water by means full floating of the potential. So by means BOD test measures the effluent of the water sample and is always depend upon to the full floating of the pollution potential. That is the importance of BOD. Okay now, once the BOD is always reduced significantly, so then after the primary effluent is always passing out the one setting tank. Okay now, so this setting tank so is always containing some of the microbes, some of the aerobic microbes. So in this time, so that sludge are named activated sludge. That sludge are named activated sludge. Okay now? Okay now? So the primary effluent passing into the setting tank, The setting tank is also containing some of the aerobic microbes. These aerobic microbes to be form of sludge. This sludge is always activated. That is known as activated sludge. Next one here. This activated sludge is pumped again back into the aeration tank. Okay, here the activated sludge is pumped back into the aeration tank. Already secondary treatment or biological treatment is done by passing primary effluent into large aeration tank. The primary treatment of primary effluent is passed out large aeration tank. Okay now, dear students, the primary treatment of end product are here primary effluent. The primary treatment end product of primary effluent passed out secondary treatment of large aeration tank. Okay now. So this primary effluent is again pumped into large setting tank. So this large setting tank is also containing several aerobic microbes. These microbes to be form of one type of sludge. This sludge is always activated. That is known as activated sludge. Okay now. Next one here, dear students, the activated sludge is pumped back into the aeration tank. Then after to be served into the inoculum. Okay now. Remaining major parts of the sludge is pumped into the large tank. So that is called anaerobic sludge digester. Okay now, dear students. So the remaining major part of the sludge is pumped into the large tank. So this large tank are known as anaerobic sludge digester. By means this large tank containing anaerobic microbes. So don't confuse over here. Aeration tank or setting tank containing only aerobic microbes. Then after the activated sludge, so to be passing out aeration tank. Then after remaining major part of the sludge is passing out large tank. This large tank containing some of the heterotrophic anaerobic bacteria. So this process is known as anaerobic sludge digester. Okay now. So the sludge digested by some of the bacteria and some of the fungus to be form one mixture of gases. That is known as biogas. This biogas containing methane along with carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide and seawood. Okay now, dear students, the secondary treatment of end product, that is anaerobic sludge digester. The primary treatment of end product, primary effluent. The secondary treatment of end product, anaerobic sludge digester. Okay, now this anaerobic sludge digested by some of the anaerobic bacteria and the fungus to be produce a one mixture of gases, that is biogas or gobar gas. This biogas or gobar gas containing methane along with carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide and hydrogen. Okay, now so this biogas is always used to inflammable by means biogas to be produced one sources of the energy. Okay, now the biogas or gobar gas is produced one sources of energy. This energy it is used as inflammable. It is used as inflammable by means gobar gas or biogas is always used to be cooking and lighting for the house purpose. Okay, now anyhow activated in ministry and forest is discovered to the Ganga Action Plan and Yamuna Action Plan is always serve the major rivers from the pollution. In generally, microbes is always to be used the removal of toxic pollutants such as oils and chemical spills and land contamination of toxic waste materials. With toxic materials, this process is called bioremediation. Okay, now thank you. So this is about of microbes in sewage treatment. Dear students, previous classes we will discuss about microbes in household products, microbes in industrial products, microbes in sewage treatment. Today we are going to discuss about microbes as production in biogas. So here, dear students, already microbes in sewage treatment, the sewage treatment to be end product or here biogas. The sewage treatment. Okay, now the primary treatment end product or in primary effluent and the secondary treatment end product in biogas or gobar gas. Okay, now biogas is a mixture of gases produced by the microbial activity and is used as fuel. Generally, biogas or gobar gas is a mixture of gases produced by the microbial activity. By means biogas or gobar gas is always depend upon to the microbial activity. Okay, now biogas or gobar gas production. Okay, now biogas or gobar gas production is always depend upon to the microbial activity. What are the uses of biogas or gobar gas? That is used in fuel. Okay, now so during fermentation process, that is during fermentation of dough, cheese making and production of beverages, and the main gas is produced in CO2. Anyhow, fermentation process or production of beverages and cheese making and gobar gas production, all fermentation process finally to be released carbon dioxide, The fermentation process, cheese making process, production of beverages and gobar gas production to be produced finally end product, that is CO2. Okay now. So next one here, methanogens grow anaerobically on cellulosic material and produce a large amount of methane along with hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide and nitrogen. So some of the microbes are actively, so those microbes are namely methanogens such as Methanococcus and Methanophilus. Those bacteria are named methanogens. Okay now, Methanococcus and Methanophilus bacteria are named as methanogens. So those methanogens grow anaerobically on cellulosic material, especially grown in cellulosic material, producing a large amount of methane, that is CH4 and hydrogen sulfide, that is H2S, and CO2 and also nitrogen. Okay now, methanogens are commonly found in anaerobic sludge during sewage treatment, and also in rumen of cattle. Rumen means a part of stomach. Rumen of cattle. Already previous classes will be discussed about the secondary treatment or anaerobic sludge digester to be produce one energy sources of production, that is biogas. Okay now, this biogas are not only available in anaerobic sludge, so and also available in ruminant of cattle such as cows and buffaloes. So rumen of cattle such as cows and buffaloes. So the cows and buffaloes is also to be produced biogas or gobar gas. Okay now, dear students, methanogens are commonly found in anaerobic sludge during sewage treatment. Not only occur in anaerobic sludge and also occur in rumen of cattle, such as available in cow, buffalo, a part of the stomach. So rumen of cattle is also to be produced methane or gobar gas or biogas. Okay now. So here the excreta of cattle, that is dung. Rich in methanogenic methanogens, and can be used for generation of biogas. Okay now, the excreta of cattle, that is dung, are having to rich content of methanogens. So these methanogens can be used for generation of biogas. So how to prepare biogas or gobar gas? So dear students, this is a typical biogas plant. Or gobar gas plant. This is a typical biogas plant or gobar gas plant. Okay now, so in a biogas plant, first one here, bio-waste are collected and a slurry of dung is filled. This is a first in here. So first one in here, this is a biogas plant. First collected bio-waste and a slurry of dung is fed. Slurry of dung is fed. Next one in here, the biogas plant has an outlet which is connected to a pipe. The biogas plant has an outlet which is connected to a pipe to supply biogas the nearly houses. The nearly houses. Okay, now this is a typical biogas plant or gobar gas plant which consists of a concrete tank, about 14 to 15 deep feet. 14 to 15 deep feet. Okay, now dear students, this is a typical biogas plant or gobar gas plant. This biogas plant or gobar gas plant which consists of one concrete tank, is about 14 to 15 deep feet. 14 to 15 deep feet. Okay, now first bio wastes are collected. And a slurry of dung is feed. Next one here, the biogas plant. This is a biogas plant as an outlet which is connected to a pipe. To supply of biogas nearly houses. Next one here, the remaining slurry is removed through another outlet. The remaining slurry is always removed through another outlet, and this slurry is also used to be fertilizers. Okay, now, so the concrete tank or the concrete tank containing sludge. This sludge to be digested with the help of some anaerobic bacteria, that is some methanogenic bacteria. These methanogenic bacteria to be produced methane along with hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Okay, now dear students, so this concrete tank containing sludge. This sludge is always digested by some anaerobic bacteria, that is some methanogenic bacteria. These methanogenic bacteria easily digested by sludge. Sludge means a mixture of dung and water. Okay, now, so here this biogas plant or gobar gas plant, that is one of the concrete tank containing sludge. So this sludge consists of dung and water. Okay, now this sludge easily digested by some of the anaerobic bacteria, that is methanogenic bacteria. These methanogenic bacteria easily digested, then after to be produced one gas, that is methane, and also to be produced hydrogen sulfide and CO2 and also nitrogen. Okay, now this biogas or gobar gas or wind is mainly rural areas. Why? Because due to the availability of cattle dung for large quantity. Nowadays, especially these biogas plants or gobar gas plants is always built only rural areas. Why? Because due to the availability of cattle dung in the large quantity. So hence the biogas plants and gobar gas plants is always constricted within the rural areas. So these biogas or gobar gas, is always used in cooking and lighting for the houses. So anyhow, the technology of biogas production is always developed mainly in India due to the efforts of Indian Agricultural Research Institute, and Khadi and Village Industries. Khadi and Village Industrials Developments. Okay, now this technology will be biogas production is always developed to be efforts the Indian Agricultural Research Institute and Khadi and Village Commissioners, Khadi and Village Commissioner Institutes. Okay, now thank you. This is a microbes as production in biogas. Dear students, previous classes we will discuss about microbes in household products, microbes in industrial products, microbes in sewage treatments, microbes as biogas in production. Today we are going to discuss about microbes as biocontrol agents. So first of all, what is the meaning of biocontrol? So here, dear students, biocontrol refers to the use of biological method for controlling in plant diseases and pests. Biocontrol refers to the use of biological method for controlling certain plant diseases as well as pests. So here, dear students, the chemical insecticides, pesticides, weedicides are toxic and mostly harmful in human beings and animals alike, and also have been used our pollution in the environment. Mainly pollution in soil, groundwater, that is soil pollution, water pollution, and also some of the vegetables are polluted and fruits also polluted, and cropping plants is also polluted. So nowadays to be utilized some of the biocontrolling agents, especially economically useful cropping plants, mainly wheat, maize, rice, tomato, soybean, and the main important cotton. Okay, now. So the use of biocontrol measures will greatly reduce our dependence on toxic chemicals and pesticides. Okay, now, so the uses of biocontrol measures is always greatly reduce our dependence on toxic chemicals and pesticides. Are here. Next one is here. Some of the beetles. Okay, now. So some of the beetles with red and black markings and dragonflies are useful to get rid of aphids and mosquitoes. So So here, dear students, the beetle, one of the beetle with red and black markings, that is ladybird. Markings and dragonflies are useful to get rid of aphids and mosquitoes. Mainly beetles. So next one here. So these are very harmful insects. Beetles and dragonflies, such as aphids and mosquitoes. as well as butterfly caterpillars, as well as butterfly caterpillars is always infect of the certain plants, infect of the certain plants. Okay, now butterfly caterpillars are controlled by the bacterium, that is Bacillus thuringiensis. That is Bacillus thuringiensis is short form BT. Is short form BT in plants such as brassicas and fruit trees, such as brassicas and fruit trees. Okay, here. So one of the insect are here, that is butterfly caterpillars. So butterfly caterpillars are controlled by the one of the bacteria. So the bacteria are named Bacillus thuringiensis, short form BT. By means BT bacteria is always control of the butterfly caterpillars. Butterfly caterpillars. These butterfly caterpillars is always grown morely cotton plants. More cotton plants. Cotton plants. So plants such as brassicas and also fruit trees. Not only cotton plants and also Brassicaceae family members and also several fruit trees plants. Several fruit tree plants. Okay now. And next one here. So the use of spores of BT are eaten by some of the insect larvae. Then after the larvae get killed. Why? Because the bacterial toxin will kill the caterpillars. The bacterial toxin will kill the caterpillars. So here, so the butterfly caterpillars are eaten by the BT spores. Are eaten by the BT spores, especially insect larvae. So those insect larvae get killed. Why? Because the bacterial toxin will kill the caterpillars. The bacterial toxin, BT toxin, will kill the caterpillars. Okay now, so anyhow, the BTs and also aphids and mosquitoes and butterfly caterpillars both are very harmful insects. So these harmful insects is always eaten by some of the Brassicaceae family members and fruit trees. Fruit trees. Okay now, next we are going to the plants in which Bacillus thuringiensis genes were introduced or resistant to insect pests. So here, so those plants such as Brassicaceae family members plants and fruit trees are plants in which Bacillus thuringiensis genes, that is BT toxin genes, BT toxin genes were introduced in those of plant. Then after these plants are well developed resistant to insect pests, resistant to insect pests, such as BT plants are here, BT cotton, BT brinjal. The most important BT plants are here, BT cotton and BT brinjal, as well as BT rice, BT potato, BT soybean, BT soybean. Okay now, dear student, BT toxin genes were introduced to the some of the plants. BT toxin genes were introduced to the some of the plants. Those plants are present well resistant to insects and pests. Insects and pests. Such plants are named as BT cotton, BT brinjal, BT rice, BT potato, BT soybean, BT soybean. So not only bacteria is always controlling of the some harmful insects and pests. Fungal members is also controlling of the plant diseases. Fungal members is also controlling of the plant diseases. Fungal members is always also killing of the some insects and pests. So that named trichoderma. That named trichoderma. Not only Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria. Okay now. Not only Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria, that is BT toxin gene, only not killing of the beetles, aphids, mosquitoes and butterfly caterpillars. As well as fungal members is also controlling of the plant diseases, especially so controlling of the insects and pests. Controlling of the insects and pests. The fungal member are named as Trichoderma polysporum. Trichoderma falciparum. This is a free living fungal member. This is a free living fungal member. Okay, now the fungus is also control of the plant diseases. The named as Trichoderma falciparum. Trichoderma falciparum. Okay, now next one here. Some of the harmful insects and other arthropods are attacked by one virus, that is baculovirus. That is baculovirus. This virus belongs to the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Not only bacteria and not only fungal members are killing of the insects and pests are controlling of the plant diseases. Viruses is also controlling of the plant diseases and killing of the insects and some arthropoda members. Insects and some arthropoda members. That is named baculovirus. That is named baculovirus. This baculovirus belongs to the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Nucleopolyhedrovirus. This is very important here. Insects and other arthropods are attacked by one type of virus. The virus named baculovirus. Baculovirus. This baculovirus belongs to the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Okay, now what is the function of baculovirus? What is the function of baculovirus? Dear students, baculovirus are species specific and using narrow spectrum in insecticidal applications. In insecticidal application. This is the importance of baculovirus. Okay, now baculovirus is always attacked by insects and some arthropoda members by means to be controlling of plant diseases. Okay, now and at the same time the baculovirus species are specific and using of narrow spectrum in insecticidal applications. Baculoviruses are using in insecticidal applications by means totally killing of the insects. So baculoviruses directly killing of the insects such as aphids, mosquitoes and butterfly caterpillars. Okay, now and at the same time the baculovirus have no negative impacts in plants, mammals, birds, fishes and even no target insects, even no non-target insects. This is the importance of baculovirus. Okay, now dear students, insects and other arthropods are attacked by baculovirus. This baculovirus belongs to the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Okay, now the baculovirus are species in specific and using of narrow spectrum in insecticidal applications. By means the baculovirus or Nucleopolyhedrovirus is directly attacked to the insects and then after to be directly killing of the insects. Next, baculovirus have no negative impacts such as in plants, birds, mammals, animals, fishes and no even non-target insects. Okay, now so this is the importance of microbes as biocontrol agents. Several microbes, but such as one of the bacteria, one of the fungus, one of the viruses is always to be controlling of plant diseases, mainly bacteria, that is Bacillus thuringiensis, short form BT. Such plants are named as BT cotton, BT brinjal, BT rice, BT soybean, BT tomato, BT potato. And fungal members is also controlling of the plant diseases, that is named Trichoderma polysporum. Trichoderma polysporum. And virus is also controlling of the plant diseases, that is named Baculovirus. Baculovirus belong to the genus in Nucleopolyhedrovirus. Nucleopolyhedrovirus. This is about microbes as biocontrol agents. Biocontrol agents. Okay, now thank you. Dear students, previous classes will be detailed discussed about microbes in household products, microbes in industrial products, microbes in sewage treatment, microbes as biogas in production, microbes as biocontrol agents. Today we are going to discuss about the last topic on here, microbes as biofertilizers. Microbes as biofertilizers. Microbes are useful, essential to life on earth. Microbes are very useful to, essential to life on earth. Microbes are useful in household purpose. Microbes are useful in industrial purpose. Microbes are useful in sewage treatment purpose. Microbes are useful in biogas production purpose. Microbes are useful in biocontrol agents. Microbes are useful in biofertilizers. Biofertilizers. These are the using in microbes to be human life on earth. To be human life on earth. Those microbes are here, especially fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Okay, now fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Some of the microbes are here, that is protozoa, bacteria, viruses, algae, fungi. But very important microbes are here, bacteria, virus, and fungi. Okay, now dear students, today we are going to learn about biofertilizers. First of all, what is the meaning of biofertilizers? Okay, now biofertilizers are organisms. So these organisms, the enrich the nutrient quality of the soil. Biofertilizers are organisms. Those organisms are here, bacteria, cyanobacteria, and fungi. These organisms are grown the soil and to be increasing of the nutrient food material. To be increasing of the nutrient food material, that is called biofertilizer. By means the soil is always fertility. Fertilizer means the soil is always fertility. Why? Because well developed nutrient food material are developed. Well developed nutrient food material. Okay, now. So here biofertilizers are organisms. So these organisms enrich the nutrient quality of the soil. Nutrient quality of the soil, that is called biofertilizers. Okay, now dear students, so the main sources of the biofertilizers are in bacteria, cyanobacteria, and fungi. Okay, now what are the biofertilizer organisms? Such as bacteria, cyanobacteria, and fungi. These three organisms are to be used in biofertilizer process. Biofertilizer process. Then after to be increasing of the nutrient quality for the soil. Nutrient quality for the soil. So hence soil is always fertility. Hence soil is always fertility. Okay now. So So okay, now these biofertilizers used in an organic farming. What is the use of biofertilizers? Okay, now dear students, biofertilizers is always used in organic farming. Is always forming the organic matter. Is always forming the organic matter. Biofertilizers such as bacteria, cyanobacteria and fungi is always used to be organic farming. Organic farming. Okay, now discuss about one biofertilizer organism such as Rhizobium bacteria. Such as Rhizobium bacteria. Okay, here this Rhizobium bacteria is always closely associated with the legume plants of the roots. Legume plants of the roots. So these bacteria will be form of nodules. That is called nodule roots. That is called nodule roots or root nodules. Okay, now one biofertilizer organism such as Rhizobium bacteria. The bacteria named are here Rhizobium bacteria. This Rhizobium bacteria is always closely associated within the legume plants of the roots. That is called symbiotic association. That is called symbiotic association to be form a root nodules or nodules of the roots. Root nodules or nodules of the root. Okay, students, clearly understood? One of the biofertilizer organism such as Rhizobium bacteria. This Rhizobium bacteria is always closely associated with the legume plants of the roots. So this process is known as symbiotic association. So these Rhizobium bacteria will be form a root nodules or nodules of the roots. Nodules of the roots. Okay, now nodules of the roots of leguminous plants are formed by symbiotic association of Rhizobium bacteria. Rhizobium bacteria. What is the function of Rhizobium bacteria? Rhizobium bacteria is always forming of the root nodules. So these root nodules containing to be fixed atmospheric nitrogen. So this to fix atmospheric nitrogen converted into organic farming. Converted into organic farming. Then after the plant to be utilized in their nutrient. The plant to be utilized in their nutrient. That is the importance of Rhizobium bacteria. Biofertilizer organism, the best example one Rhizobium bacteria. This Rhizobium bacteria is closely associated with the leguminous plants of the roots, such as groundnut, beans, such as groundnut and beans. So those leguminous plants are members to be containing root nodules. In those of root nodules are having to fix atmospheric nitrogen. This fixed atmospheric nitrogen converted into organic forms. So this organic forms to be utilized in the plant to be nutrient. That is the importance of Rhizobium bacteria. Not only Rhizobium bacteria and some of the free living bacteria are here. These free living bacteria is also fixing of the nitrogen. That is free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Generally, Rhizobium bacteria are grown in the soil and to be attacked leguminous plants of the roots. Then after to be forming a root nodules. In those of root nodules containing fixed atmospheric nitrogen and converted into organic farming. This organic farming to be utilizing of the plant in their nutrients. Okay, now and another bacteria are here such as Azotobacter and Azospirillum and Azotobacter. So these bacteria are not closely associated with the another plants of the roots. Directly to be fixing of the nitrogen. Atmospheric nitrogen. Both are free living bacteria. Okay, now Azospirillum and Azotobacter is always grown for the surrounding environment. So these bacteria is also to be fixed atmospheric nitrogen and then will be converted into organic forms. So those named free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Such as Azotobacter and Azospirillum. Azotobacter and Azospirillum. Okay, how? Okay, dear students, anyhow, Rhizobium bacteria and Azospirillum, Azotobacter, both bacteria are to be fixed atmospheric nitrogen. Okay, now another biofertilizer organism such as fungal member. Another biofertilizer organism, that is fungal member. One fungal member named Glomus. Glomus fungal member is always closely associated with the roots of higher plants. Rhizobium bacteria is also closely associated with the leguminous plants of the roots. At the same time, the fungal member of Glomus is always closely associated with the roots of higher plants. By means, is always closely associated with the higher plants of the roots. This symbiotic association is named mycorrhizal. This symbiotic association is named as mycorrhiza or mycorrhizal plant. Okay, now one symbiotic association between the Rhizobium bacteria and the leguminous plants of the roots. Another symbiotic association with Glomus fungal member and higher plants of the roots. Okay, here. So the fungal member of Glomus is closely associated with the roots of higher plants. This symbiotic association is named as mycorrhiza or mycorrhizal plants. What is the importance of mycorrhiza? So here, dear students, mycorrhiza is always absorption of phosphorus from the soil, then after to be passed into the plant. Okay, now, so higher plants are not containing sufficient phosphorus. In those of time, one of the fungal member to be absorbed of the phosphorus from the soil, then after passed into the plant. This is the importance of mycorrhiza. Okay, now, dear students, Rhizobium bacteria is always to fix atmospheric nitrogen and into organic forms. But mycorrhiza is always absorption of phosphorus from the soil, then after passed it into the plant. That is the importance of mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza not only absorption of phosphorus, then also to be carrying of another functions. Those are beneficial functions, such as is always increasing resistance to root-borne diseases, and tolerance to salinity and drought, and overall increasing of the plant growth and development. These are the another beneficial functions. Okay, now, dear students, mycorrhiza not only increasing of the phosphorus levels from the soil and also carrying another beneficial functions such as resistant to root-borne diseases, tolerance to salinity and drought, and increasing overall the plant growth and development. That is the importance of mycorrhiza. Okay, now another biofertilizer organism such as cyanobacteria. So cyanobacteria is one of the anaerobic microbe. This is widely distributed in aquatic as well as terrestrial environment. This is also to be fixed atmospheric nitrogen. Then after converted to organic forms such as Nostoc, Anabina and Acidotoria. Both are cyanobacteria. Okay, now don't confuse are here. Normal bacteria are here. Rhizobium bacteria, Azospirillum and Azotobacter. Both bacteria are to be fixed atmospheric nitrogen. And cyanobacteria are here. Nostoc, Anabina, Acidotoria. Both are cyanobacteria. Generally terrestrial environment, as they mainly sources of fixed atmospheric nitrogen and convert into organic forms. Another importance of biofertilizer are in paddy fields such as cyanobacteria. Another importance of biofertilizers in paddy fields such as cyanobacteria. This cyanobacteria is also to be growing of the soil, by means also soil in the enrich of the nutrient quality are added organic matter, so hence the soil is always fertility. Okay, now dear students, another importance of biofertilizers as used in paddy fields such as cyanobacteria. This cyanobacteria is also add organic matter to the soil, so hence the soil is always fertility. That is the importance of cyanobacteria. So these are the biofertilizer organisms. Those biofertilizer organisms such as bacteria, glomus fungi and cyanobacteria. The bacteria best example Rhizobium bacteria, Azospirillum and Azotobacter. Both are to be fixed atmospheric nitrogen and convert into organic forms. Next, glomus fungus is always absorption of phosphorus from the soil, then after passed it into the plant. And cyanobacteria is always important to paddy fields. So is also they add the organic matter. So hence is always soil is always fertility. So increasing of the fertility to be utilized by cyanobacteria such as Nostoc, Anabaena and Asclepiaria. Okay, now next we are going to discuss about challenges posed by microbes. Okay, now dear students, so if the microbes are well resistant to drugs, if the microbes become well resistant to drugs, these microbes are known as supermicrobes. Okay, now Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria, that is Bt, is always resistant to insects and pests. So those cropping plants, Bt cotton, Bt brinjal, Bt tomato, Bt potato, Bt soybean, and also some of the antibiotics such as chloromycin, tetracycline, erythromycin, chloramphenicol. These are also increasing of the resistance power. Okay, now if the microbes is always resistant to drugs, these microbes are named as supermicrobes. Okay, now dear students, so here eggs, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, mad cow diseases and severe acute respiratory syndromes such as SARS. These are the commonly emerged diseases. Recently commonly emerged diseases. So AIDS is caused by one type of virus. Mad cow diseases is caused by one type of prions. So severe acute respiratory syndrome is caused by one type of virus. So both all are emerged diseases. Not to be suddenly death. So to be increasing of the lifespan several years. Okay, now AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is caused by HIV virus. Mad cow disease is caused by prions, one type of virus. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, is caused by one type of virus. So these are the identified recently emerged diseases. Another diseases are here cholera, tuberculosis and dengue fever. These are the re-emerging diseases, not harmful. To be prevent in those of diseases, to be increasing of the certain lifespan. power, mainly depend upon to the resistance power. Okay now, cholera, tuberculosis and dengue fever, these are the re-emerging diseases. These are the re-emerging diseases. Okay now. So another importance are here bioterrorism. Another importance are here bioterrorism. Bioterrorism. So by the means is involves so the actual use of or the threat of the biological agents in order to spread fear and infect diseases and death in our the population. In our the population, that is called bioterrorism. Bioterrorism is one of the term refers to the actual use of or the threat use of biological agents in order to so severe to fear and diseases and death made upon the populations. Death in the made upon the our population. That is called bioterrorism. That is called bioterrorism. How to controlling of bioterrorism? So nowadays to be developed, well-developed technology. So that is named advancing genomics and bioinformatics can produce rapid detection method. Can produce rapid detection method. So in those of bioterrorisms. In those of bioterrorisms. So that is the importance of bioterrorism. So here this is about microbes as biofertilizers and challenges posed by microbes. Okay now, thank you.